Hello and welcome to the Conversation Cafe. My name's Beth Turner and I am a communication coach for young people and the founder of conversationsunlimited.com. The Conversation Cafe is the online space that I use to do two things. Firstly, I create content directly for young people, sharing top tips and techniques to help them feel confident communicating in a wide variety of everyday situations. The second thing I do is I create content for the parents of those young people, looking at exactly the same communication topics, but talking about them through a parental lens. And that's what I want to do in this video. I'd love to share with you three things that I think are worth considering when you as a parent want to know how to help and support your child becoming a socially confident communicator. Now, most children don't find communicating in everyday situations particularly easy. And unless we can help them to develop those skills early on, there is a chance that they will carry those public speaking related fears, friendship building fears, making new relationships. They'll carry those hurdles and those fears with them into adult life. But the good news is that there are things that we can do together to help them become confident in those sorts of situations and to go on and use that confidence to flourish throughout their life. Now, the skills and techniques that I teach young people are really simple to understand. They're easy and quick to practice, but the potential of them is quite significant. And what I can do is share content with them that you could watch as well, because there's three things that are really important for us to understand as parents. The first of which is the power of imitation. Because I can create as many videos as I feel are necessary, but actually your children are going to learn from you way more than they will learn from me, because you are with them in their everyday experience, in the moments in which they are needing to communicate socially, speak out loud in front of an audience, deal with a friendship issue, communicate a worry or concern, ask for help, negotiate a presentation, all sorts of situations they'll find themselves in. You're there with them day by day, and therefore you are the best person in the world to help display techniques and skills and coping mechanisms that they can imitate and adopt in their lives. So imitation is the first thing that I'd love you to be aware of when it comes to helping your kids be socially confident communicators. The second thing is about celebration. And the third thing is about self-talk. Those three things, imitation, celebration, and self-talk, are things sometimes that we forget have the potential to really help our kids. So imitation, in everyday situations, they're going to be looking to you. And I don't know how many of you have heard yourself say something like, oh, I'm turning into my mother, or I'm turning out to be just like my dad. That's not a coincidence, because unless your children learn other techniques, those that they adopt are most likely to be the ones that they grew up with. So your responses to social communication situations, your attitudes to communicating with other people, and your behaviours in those situations. Now, if the thought of them imitating you and growing up adopting your behaviours is something that you think you should worry about, then I want you to be able to relax and know that actually turn that opportunity onto its head. You have an opportunity to help them break the cycle, because you and I are probably similar in the respect that there are all sorts of situations that we faced into as children that no one prepared us for, no one helped us navigate. And therefore, we have an opportunity now to prepare our children more so than we ever were prepared, and to break that cycle of taking those fears and those concerns with us into adult life. Now, as far as a top tip that I could offer you for imitation, it's simple. I've created a bank of videos where I share skills and techniques with the young people that you live with. So not only introduce them to that content, but also my suggestion would be to watch it yourself and adopt some of the techniques that I'm introducing them to. Because if they see them in the video content and then they see them happening in everyday life, there is a greater chance that they are going to take them on board and benefit from knowing them. So imitation is an opportunity. Yes, it might need you to upskill yourself a touch. Yes, it might need you to take a breath before you react in a social situation when you are communicating with others, because you know that the likelihood is you're going to be copied at some point. But see it as the opportunity it is for you to become an even more socially confident communicator yourself, and to make sure that you pass that down to your children at every opportunity. The second thing that I'd love to throw out there as something for you to consider is celebration. Now, we know that children are most likely to repeat the behaviour that we reward. And getting our approval as their parents is so powerful in so many of the activities that they do. And I'd love you to think and be aware that how we reward and recognize their success and their progress and their bravery and vulnerability in social situations is just as powerful as when we celebrate their success in a sports club or academically in school. And quite often we want them to find social situations comfortable, but when they finished a social situation, more often than not, we want to point out the thing that we think they could have done better, or we will criticize something. So maybe they're in a social situation and they're a little bit shy at this moment in time in their character. And when you get in the car and you come home from that, that friendship gathering that you had with your friends and their kids were there and you wanted your kids to join in with their kids, actually, why not find just one thing that you can celebrate and say to them, do you know what? I was really proud when I saw you go up and speak to Amelia when she was sitting on her own, or you seem to be getting so much more comfortable now talking to adults that you don't know very well. Find the one thing to celebrate rather than spending that car journey home saying, I wish you would join in more. You don't need to be so shy. There's no reason for you not to have gone and played football with the other boys. Why didn't you just, show the courage to go and do it? The power of you celebrating that tiny bit of progress, even if rather than celebrating the success of something, being able to say, you seem more comfortable with, or I love the fact that I see you do this more often. That will really have an impact with your kids, and it will cause them to start to think, yeah, I do join in more, or yeah, actually I am getting good at speaking to my friends' parents that I don't know very well, or yeah, actually I did enjoy having that conversation or telling that story in a group. You'd be surprised of the power that your celebration, your recognition and celebration will have on them. Which leads me on to my third and final point of the video, something that I'd love you to be aware of as the parent of a socially confident communicator in the making, and that is the power of self-talk. Now, your description of your child has the potential to become the self-talk that they use to describe themselves. So you've probably heard it before, that your children will grow into exactly what you describe they are. So if you describe your child as an academic high flyer, or really outgoing, or really sporty or courageous, the chances are your child will grow to meet your expectations. Likewise, if you describe your child as the shy one, or the clumsy one, or the troublemaker, the chances are your child will grow to meet your expectations. And when we're talking about social confidence, it's probably a flag to say, have you listened recently to how you describe your child? Because I'm sure, like me, we used to talk about our children all the time when they were little, when they were toddlers, and our kids at that point in their life were oblivious to how we would describe them. But I know I've fallen into the trap of continuing to talk about them and forgetting that they're old enough now to be listening, because they've got hearing like bats. The minute you're talking about them, they can hear your discussion a mile away. They can't hear you ask them to do a job or ask them to come off YouTube, but they can hear you describe them or talk about them to your partner, your friend, a teacher. They hear and remember that more so than anything else. So think about the words that you use to describe them, because when you are in a social situation and you describe them as the shy one, or oh, you know, he's got no filter, ignore what he says, or I apologize up front, or oh, she's always been that rude. You know, those descriptions, they stick in your child's mind, and that's how they start to describe and think of themselves. So you might want to think about doing a little bit of a review, which is what I did. And I caught myself on several occasions about to describe them in one way and just took a breath and chose a different word. And the power of, as a parent, choosing different words to describe your kids, because they will grow into those new words. And if it feels a little bit odd to do it out and about, then start by doing it in the home. Start to describe your child to your husband or your wife or their brothers or sisters. And actually, you know, when you're talking about where you've been that day, what you've done, you can start to use words like, you know, oh, we met up with some friends and Ethan was really good at mixing with the other children, or, you know, Brooke was brilliant because she got involved with playing with the little ones, and it was great to see her interact with them, and they were so polite, and it's lovely to see them be, you know, start to have conversations with adults that they wouldn't normally talk to. These descriptions are powerful, and if they're used often enough, it will become how your children see themselves. And when they go out, they will think, yeah, I integrate with other kids really well. I enjoy conversations with adults. I'm not afraid of talking to an adult that I don't know very well. I'm really polite, I'm engaging, and that will just bring on more of the behavior that you want to celebrate. And actually, it starts to just tip the balance about where the level of your child's social confidence sits. So just 3 really easy things to throw out there today in this video to get you to think about if, like me, you would love your children to grow up without any of the inhibitions that maybe you and I had, I know I did as a child, to have an inbuilt confidence and a belief in their own power and their own ability to connect with other people and enjoy social interactions. So I'll leave you with those 3 things today. Just have in the back of your mind, when you're in these situations, imitation, celebration, and self-talk. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please feel free to like and subscribe and tell someone else that you know that this video exists. And if not, then let me know why not in the comments below, and let me see how else I can help and serve you. So thank you for joining me in the Conversation Cafe today. I hope to see you back here very soon.